Ladies and gentlemen, good evening. This is Mr. Iqbal Adil, Consultant General, Colorectal and Breast Surgeon. I hope you all are well and back to work. It's extremely unfortunate that the world is facing greatest tragedy on the Earth planet due to pandemic of the coronavirus for the last 4 months, causing severe atrocity to our employment, our social, religious, spiritual, educational, and health services, which world would never be able to forget in future. In December 2019, there was an outbreak of pneumonia in the city of Wuhan in China, resulting chest infection, flu-like symptoms to the large number of people who were tested with their lung fluid, and the Chinese recovered genetic material of unknown origin, similar to the SARS virus 2003. WHO gave the genetic material name of COVID-19 on 11th of February 2020. On 3rd of March, the total infected people within China were 82,000. However, the graph went up sharply to sky high when World Bank announced hefty amount of financial support to the countries hit by coronavirus, and $160 billion were allocated. And surprisingly, the curve on the graph went steep high, and within 2 weeks, the rate of infection across the world rose up to over 300,000. And on 3rd of April, the number infected across the world were over million, around 170 countries across the world. Media, especially mainstream media, played extremely negative role in spreading the news, creating a lot of confusion and anxiety by listening the false fabricated news across the world. On 19th of March 2020, National Risk Assessment Team, along with UK government, downgraded this coronavirus as a least possible infectious pathogen in transmission of human to human infection since 1918, and this was put at the lowest border on the list of microorganisms causing serious problem to the human being, with the mortality of 0.1 to 0.2%, which is even lesser than the mortality by the influenza and the flu virus. However, the entire scenario changed on 23rd of March when UK government put total lockdown in United Kingdom on recommendation by Professor Neil Ferguson, Professor of Mathematical Biology, Imperial College, London, and member of UK Emergency Scientific Committee. Professor Neil Ferguson advised government of United Kingdom that there was possibility of 800 million being infected and 500,000 deaths as a result of deadly coronavirus. And on his recommendations, government of United Kingdom, they put the total lockdown on UK with the social distancing, resulting damage to our economy, our well-being and livelihood. It resulted in loss of education and health services in the entire UK. On Professor Neil Ferguson's recommendation, the hospital were vacated and all the elective admissions and investigations required for cancer and other patients were seized off to accommodate the flood of coronavirus patients coming into the hospital. Actually, it never happened like this. And we have witnessed more than 70 to 80% UK hospital beds lying vacant, and half of the intensive care beds were also available waiting for the patients. But we haven't seen flooding of millions of people rushing into the hospitals. However, it seriously compromised the elective admissions, investigations, and treatment for patients waiting to have their investigations for cancers, for other minor, intermediate, and major surgical interventions. Most of the clinics went on phone or through the streamline, which was not as good as used to be by one-to-one clinical appointment. Due to the total lockdown, our economy went down significantly to the bottom, and 5 million UK citizens applied for unemployment allowance. And in United States of America, 30 million registered for unemployment. And the figure were much more higher in the poor and thickly populated third world countries, resulting in severe atrocities, poverty, and loss of economical, social, and other perspectives. It is highly regretted that the infection rate for the coronavirus was so low, with the lowest possible mortality, even lesser than influenza and flu virus. Why the lockdown was imposed on the public who have lost their confidence to come out of their homes, to resume their job, their employment, and day-to-day practice. It has also shattered the confidence of the students to go back to their schools. And lots of people on daily wages basis, self-employed, with the small, medium to large business have been shut and seriously compromised their financial and personal well-being. As the time goes by, people have started questioning about the sensitivity of RT-PCR test, which has been used as a gold standard for identifying the coronavirus. To my understanding, and with the wide extensive experience, the RT-PCR test is sensitive to 55 to 60% of the lung fluid, and the false positive results are over 45 to 50%, and the false negative are again over 40 to 50%. And the procedure carried out during the RT-PCR test designed by Carey Mullis in 1990 is used as a diagnostic kit for identifying the coronavirus by reversing the RNA to DNA with the polymerase, and then using the PC probe and amplifying the probe several times to obtain billions of DNA strands, which can be then visualized and seen under the electron microscope to declare as false positive or false negative results. But as I said, the sensitivity of this test is only 55 to 60%. And with the higher amplification, the test is meant to be positive. However, negative PCR test doesn't mean that it's negative for the COVID-19. In one laboratory, a test could be positive and the other one could be negative at all. However, the various trials have shown that patients who are having pneumonia, the PCR test would be 90 to 95% positive. After 10 days of pneumonia, or within 2 weeks, the test result will be 60 to 65% sensitive. And after a month, the PCR test would be less than 1% positive. And the other investigation which we carry out at the same time is a CT scan of chest, which shows bilateral consolidation and opacities in both lungs, which radiologists declare as probable COVID-19 in almost all the patients. However, the sensitivity of the CT scan is even not more than 60 to 65%, as large studies have shown across the world. In some countries, they are using the temperature probe to test the temperature of a person, and they are declaring them possible coronavirus positive on the basis of the high temperature, which is absolutely unacceptable, because the fever and the high temperature in an individual is as a result of the body immune response against any sort of infection, whether it's bacterial infection, or it's fungal infection, or it's protozoal infection, or it's due to parasite. That's why this temperature checking should not be labeled as the parameter for declaring somebody COVID-19 or positive or negative. But I have heard that in most of the third countries, on the basis of the high temperature, people are sent into the COVID ward, where a lot of patients with the COVID positive tests are already there. And if this man or a woman has not been positive due to any reason, would definitely be positive due to cross-infection among the public. Now, at this stage, I would strongly recommend that the lockdown should be voluntary. The people who are young, fit, energetic, they should be going back to their work. However, anybody who's not willing to go out due to some reason or is very much scared of going out to get any infection from the public, which usually doesn't happen, should stay at home. The elderly people who are above 65, 70, although most of them are very fit, even in 90s I've seen marathon runners, but they can take extra precautions to protect themselves due to reduce immune response. As we have seen that this COVID-19 or coronavirus infection has picked up the old generation due to loss of their immunity, due to uh, multiple medical problems, diabetes, hypertension, strokes, cancers, COPD, and cardiovascular diseases. They are prone to have more incidence of this COVID-19. Therefore, these people should take extra precautions and they should be looked after very well. However, in order to restore the economy, all the useful community members should go back to their work to boost up the economy, and the children should resume their studies in school, colleges, and universities to achieve the maximum potential of their abilities. So how we can restore the confidence of people by asking them to come back to their work, and the children should go back to school. The only way is to create an awareness among the public. We need to reassure them. We need to relieve their fear, anxiety, depression. We bring them out of their stresses and loneliness and isolation. We need to guide them, and we need to advise them and educate them to maintain their health and spirits and the good hygiene, to resume normality of life. This is very crucial time for all of us. We all are responsible, not only as a health professional, but as a human being and the responsible citizen of this country and the part of the society across the world to reassure everyone on the earth planet to resume their normality of life with confidence, reassurance, and lots of psychological and spiritual support to resume their confidence as ever before. So this is my message across. We'll talk about the vaccination in our next talk. I hope everybody enjoyed this talk, and thank you very much for listening to me, and we will keep in touch. Please spread this news of reassurance and awareness to the public across the world. Many thanks. Bye-bye now.